Hey there and welcome. Today we are going to take a completely different look at our emotions. What if they aren't just these random, uncontrollable things that happen to us? What if they're actually direct messages coming from inside our own bodies? Let's dive in and explore that. You know that feeling, right? When you're just totally swept away by a wave of anger or maybe anxiety, and you feel like you're not even in the driver's seat anymore. I think we've all been there. But what if there's another way? What if those feelings aren't the enemy, but are actually trying to tell you something? And learning their language could be the key to everything? All right, to really get this, we've got to start by looking at a few key ideas. Our whole journey here begins with understanding this deep, fundamental connection between our mind, our body, and the emotions that show up right where those two meet. So first up, when we talk about the mind, we need to think way, way bigger than just that little voice in your head that never stops talking. The idea here is that the mind is the entire ecosystem of your inner world. It's your conscious thoughts, for sure, but it's also all your emotional reactions, and especially those deep unconscious patterns that are running the show on autopilot. Okay, so what even is an emotion then? Well, simply put, an emotion is your body's direct, physical reaction to what's going on in your mind. It's literally your mind being reflected in your physical body. It's the moment where a non-physical thought becomes a real, tangible sensation that you can feel. Let's make this super concrete with an example like fear. It all starts with a thought, some kind of threatening thought, maybe about the future or something someone said. Instantly, your body reacts to that thought. It physically contracts. Your stomach might get tight, maybe your shoulders tense up. That physical feeling of contraction, that is the emotion we label fear. The thought created a physical event in your body. And this leads to such an important point. Our thinking mind can lie to us all day long. We can tell ourselves, oh, I'm fine, everything's fine. But our body doesn't know how to lie. So if you really truly want to know what's going on in your mind, especially in the unconscious parts, all you have to do is check in with your body. The emotion will always tell you the truth. Now, this whole connection, it is not a one-way street. Not at all. In fact, it can very quickly turn into this powerful, self-perpetuating cycle that is incredibly difficult to break out of. See, an emotion isn't just a passive little feeling that sits there. No, it's an energized, amplified version of the original thought. It carries this powerful, energetic charge, and that's why it often feels like it wants to completely take you over, to possess you. And a lot of the time, it does. So here's how that vicious circle gets going. A thought pattern pops up, something like, I'm not good enough. That thought creates an emotion in the body, maybe a feeling of heaviness or sadness. Now, the powerful energy of that sadness starts feeding the original thought, making it seem even more real, even more true. So you start looking for more evidence that you're not good enough, which just feeds more and more energy to the emotion, and the whole cycle just spins faster and gets more intense. So, if all these different emotions, anger, fear, sadness, are just parts of these cycles, what's at the very center of it all? The idea we're digging into here is pretty radical. It's that underneath all those different labels, there's really only one single core emotion. Just let that sink in for a second. Anger, jealousy, fear, sadness, they're all just different flavors, different modifications of one single, fundamental, raw emotion. And to keep it simple, we can just call it pain. Now, we're not just talking about physical pain, like stubbing your toe. This is a much deeper, kind of existential pain. It's made up of this continuous low-level sense of threat running in the background, this profound feeling of being alone or abandoned, and that nagging sense that something important is missing, that something's just not quite right. And here's the ultimate paradox. The mind sees this pain and makes its number one job to fight it, to get rid of it. But here's the catch. The mind is part of the problem. It's like the chief of police trying to hunt down an arsonist, but the arsonist is the police chief. The harder the mind tries to solve the pain, the more it struggles, the more it actually feeds the pain. It can only ever cover it up, never solve it. So is it all just pain and struggle then? Are we doomed? Absolutely not. But to understand the alternative, we have to make a really, really important distinction. We need to look beyond the world of what we normally call emotions. Okay, this is a critical difference. On one side, you've got your regular emotions. They come from the mind, and they're always dualistic. You can't have pleasure without pain, up without down. They basically exist as a disturbance. In fact, the root of the word emotion, amovere, literally means to disturb. But on the other side, you have love, joy, and peace. These aren't emotions. They are states of being. They come from a place deeper than the mind, they don't have an opposite, and they arise from within you, not because of something you got from the outside world. I absolutely love this way of looking at it. Think of these deep states, love, joy, peace, as your natural condition. They are always there, just like the sun is always in the sky. Your mind, with all its constant thinking and emotional drama, is like a thick layer of clouds. And even on the darkest, stormiest day, the sun hasn't gone anywhere, it's just temporarily covered up. You haven't lost it, you just can't see it right now.
Okay, great. So if our true nature is the sun and our messy emotions are just the clouds, how in the world do we get past the clouds? Well, there's a simple, direct, and incredibly powerful practice for this. It's all about shifting your perspective, from being the storm to being the vast open sky that holds the storm.
And you don't do this by fighting the clouds. You don't analyze them or try to force them away. That just creates more struggle. Instead, you simply become aware of them. And it all starts by asking yourself one simple internal question.
This is it. This is the key that turns the light on inside. Not, why am I feeling this? Not, how do I make this go away? Just a simple, curious, non-judgmental question. What's going on inside me at this moment?
And here's the practice. It's so simple. You just ask that question and bring your attention inward, into your body. You feel the raw energy of whatever emotion is there, but, and this is key, without getting lost in the story your mind is telling about it. You just allow it to be there. And in that moment of allowing, you realize you are not the emotion. You are the one watching it. You are the silent, observing presence behind it all. This practice of watching is how you start to untangle who you are from the nonstop drama of your mind. Freedom from that deep underlying pain doesn't come from fixing your thoughts or getting better emotions. It comes from realizing you are not your thoughts or your emotions. You are the awareness in which they happen. And that really brings us to the final and maybe the most profound question of all. When the clouds of the mind part, even just for a brief moment, what's left? Who are you really when you stop identifying with that voice in your head? I'll leave you with that one to explore. Thanks for joining me for this explainer.